Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, I am AV Obsessed, and if you're watching this video, that means you probably are too. I am back with a video that I promised I was going to do like 2 or 3 weeks ago now. This is going to be the comparison video between the Klipsch RP600M version 2 and the JBL Studio 630 bookshelf speakers. The ultimate battle of the mid-price horn bookshelf 6.5-inch woofer speakers. Very niche within a niche within a niche. But yeah, the Klipsch, everybody knows this speaker. It's been reviewed by everybody on YouTube and every written publication out there. And everybody is kind of familiar with what it sounds like. A little bit of that V curve still, but not as much as the first generation Klipsch RP600M. And the JBL, even though obviously JBL is just as well known of a name as far as audio goes, it seems as though the coverage of a lot of their speakers for the last few years is not as far-reaching as what the Klipsch got for some reason. Probably Klipsch is more involved in the influencer marketing versus JBL being a more traditional company. I don't know, but either way, I bought both of them. So I get to test them and completely tell you exactly my honest opinions because I have no dog in this race. Neither of these were provided to me by anybody because obviously I have 100 subscribers on YouTube. No one's sending me anything. If you want to change that, and you're not subscribed, then subscribe, and maybe eventually I can get some speakers sent to me by the manufacturers for testing rather than me having to buy everything and then returning most of it, because obviously I'm not going to be spending all this money on these speakers and just letting them pile up in my little 2-bedroom apartment. Okay, so first we'll talk about just a little bit of the physical design characteristics of the two speakers. They're very similar in size and weight and build quality. Klipsch is obviously a little bit taller and skinnier. The JBL's a bit shorter and fatter. Klipsch is a little bit deeper than the JBL, and the JBL is a little bit heavier. The Klipsch, I believe it says that it's 18.1 pounds, while the JBL, I believe, says that it is 19.9 pounds. If I were to spin them around, which I'm not going to do because they're connected right now, the one advantage as far as build quality, well, I guess I'd say there's two advantages as far as build quality for the Klipsch, and that is that the binding posts feel like they are higher quality on the Klipsch. In my review of the JBL, I talked about how the binding posts that they use on the JBLs, even though they seem nice because they're all metal and like shiny and everything, they are extremely shallow. If you use banana plugs, your banana plugs only stick in about 1/3 of the way, versus the Klipsch, your banana plugs go in pretty deep and they feel like you're getting a much more solid connection. And then also, I mean, it's not really an advantage. It seems almost more like a gimmick in my opinion at this kind of price point and size of speaker, but the Klipsch is bi-ampable. Nobody using speakers like this needs to bi-amp them. It would be completely excessive, but it is an option with the Klipsch and it's not an option with the JBL. And then, like, other than the physical design, the cosmetic characteristics of the two, the Klipsch has the iconic, what they call their cerammetallic woofer, which this is like kind of a pet peeve of mine, the cerammetallic woofer, because there's so much like misinformation and disinformation out there about that woofer. It is an aluminum cone, and then it has a extremely thin layer of ceramic material that coats that aluminum, that is supposedly to help with resonance frequencies, stuff like that, like cone breakup modes and everything. Like, it's supposed to help reduce those kinds of things to improve the sound. I think primarily it just helps with the cosmetics because it gives it that iconic copper color. but it is not a copper woofer. There are a lot of people online, and even I'm pretty sure I've seen in some of Klipsch's own materials for that speaker, particularly I think with their subwoofers, it says spun copper cone. No, it's not a spun copper cone. That would be ridiculous. Like, what you want for a speaker cone or dome material is something that's extremely light and stiff. You want it to be light so it can move quickly, and you want it to be stiff so when it's moving quickly it does not deform and cause distortions. Copper is a very heavy, soft metal, so it would be a terrible, terrible material to make woofers out of. But I think just because of the color and the fact that copper, you know, it's extremely well known in audio for, like, you know, cables and other components, that people think, oh, a copper woofer might be a good thing, but it would be a terrible thing. But don't worry, that's not what this is. But if you see any like marketing material or people talking online about those copper woofers, it's not copper. It's aluminum with a layer of ceramic material that is literally like a few microns thick. Just a little rant that I feel like I have to go on every time I talk about Klipsch speakers because it drives me crazy. And then obviously there's the big Tractrix horn, and with a 1-inch titanium dome tweeter set in the back of that horn. And then the JBL, pretty similar obviously, with a 6.5-inch woofer as well, but they're using what they call a polyplast material, essentially polypropylene plastic, but they squish those two words together to make it polyplast. And then they put the ridges in there to help with like breakup modes and stuff like that. And also something I talked about in my video that was specifically about these speakers. Not a huge fan of the ridges. Kind of gives it an older look. Some people might like that though. Obviously this is completely subjective, but I think more people would think that it would look more modern if it was a clean look like the Klipsch driver, but that's completely subjective. And then that would be their HDI waveguide is what they call their horn, the high definition imaging waveguide. And I think that the HDI waveguide really does a good job. And then it's got a 1-inch compression driver in the back. And I don't believe they state what the dome material is for the compression driver. Most likely aluminum, but I don't believe that it states it exactly what it is. But yeah, that's just the physical characteristics of the speakers. My opinion, I like the styling of the JBLs better. I like the badge, and I really like this, I'm pretty sure Teflon, this like gloss black Teflon plinth that they have screwed into the bottom of the speaker. It gives it kind of a higher end look. But then I do think I like the vinyl wrap on the Klipsch a little bit better, even though neither of these has a particularly nice vinyl wrap. I think both of these speakers, as far as the vinyl wrap that they put on there, it completely put to shame by JBL's cheaper series, the Stage series speakers. The vinyl wrap that they're putting on those is like a 3D textured vinyl that gives you a much more natural wood grain look to the speakers that makes them seem high-end. And if either of these speakers had that same material on them, they would seem much more high-end, particularly the JBLs, because if they were to wrap that material around this beautiful curved cabinet, they would look so much more high-end. But neither of them have a particularly nice vinyl wrap. I honestly feel like if I were going to keep these JBLs forever as some of my primary speakers, I would disassemble the speaker, pop this horn out, pop this woofer out, take the terminal plate off the back, take out all the wadding inside and the crossovers, and I would strip this vinyl off, sand the cabinet back a little bit, and I would paint it. I don't know what color I would paint it, but I feel like it would be a really cool mod to do to these speakers, because this wood grain vinyl here is, I mean, there isn't even really a wood grain to it. It's just flat. Like, It's so basic. So yeah, in my opinion though, I like the look of the JBL better. It's a little bit stockier and stouter looking of a speaker, and just overall, I like the design of it. I think the HDI waveguide looks a little bit better than the Tractrix horn. But you know, this part of the review is completely subjective. You know, talking about the sound quality between the two, I'm just gonna say it right up front. I like the JBLs better. I think that things through the JBL sound more natural. They are more neutral. They have less of that V curve like the Klipsch has. I know Klipsch has gotten a little bit away from the V curve with the Mark II version of the RP600Ms, but it's still there. Listening to male voices, they seem chestier and more like not as thin through the JBLs, and instruments feel punchier and like they have a little bit more meat on the bone. And then with the Klipsch, there is a little, it's not something that you'd notice like on a regular basis, but when I'm sitting here listening to both speakers connected to my receiver and switching speaker A, speaker B, speaker A, speaker B, there's a little bit more cabinet resonance that becomes more noticeable with the Klipsch. But the biggest difference is the fact that the mid-range still seems pretty scooped out with the Klipsch, and it is a much more present with the JBL, which just makes things sound more full and more natural. So bass feels like it goes a little bit deeper with the Klipsch, with the JBL, sorry, and mid bass is more present. And then I think if there's anything that I could give to the Klipsch as far as the frequency response goes, I think it does probably play a little bit higher. Like it does sound like there might be just a tiny bit more air and like that like high frequency clarity through the Klipsch, but it's still very good with the JBL. But it feels like the Klipsch has just got a little bit more of the like that, you know, you can hear that recording hiss in like the really high resolution recordings of, you know, like live jazz performances and stuff like that. And it seems like that is a little bit less pronounced through the JBL. Neither of them really sound sibilant though. The Klipsch, if you had to say which one sounds a little bit more sibilant, it's going to be the Klipsch. But yeah, I would say as far as the sound goes, I lean more towards the JBLs. But you don't have to just take my word for it, because the next thing I'm going to do, set up my microphones on my camera so that they are in a stereo left-right pair, and I'm going to play some demos. Now the demo tracks that I'm going to play are free songs that you can download on YouTube that are made specifically for use in YouTube videos, so I can play them without getting any kind of copyright strikes or anything like that. But there's a couple of songs in there that are going to show off what these speakers can do. Obviously, it's not going to be a 100% accurate representation of what each speaker sounds like, because what you're going to be hearing is what my microphones are able to pick up in my room, and then going through YouTube's compression. So it's not going to be some like, you know, oh, this is what this speaker sounds like, and then this is what this speaker sounds like. But you should be able to hear the differences between the two. And I will pause and talk about what differences I am hearing in the room. And so you can see if you can hear that as well. And that's going to be the next segment of the video. Right, on to the sound demo portion of the video. Just playing some songs that I downloaded off of YouTube, like the YouTube music library that's just made to be music that you could use in YouTube videos and not get copyright strikes. One thing that I should mention before we start playing these demos is that one advantage that the Klipsch has over the JBLs is they are much more efficient speakers. Using an SPL meter to volume match the two speakers, I've discovered that you have to turn the JBLs up 4 decibels louder than the Klipsch's to get the same volume level. So if you're going to be using the speakers with a less powerful amplifier or receiver or whatever you're powering the speakers with, you might want to consider the Klipsch, because they will get louder with less power, so your amp won't be working as hard. But, you know, if you've got a decent receiver that's, you know, 90, 95, 100 watts per channel, it's not going to make that big of a difference. But if you're trying to use like a little single-ended triode tube amplifier or something like that, you might be better off with the Klipsch. Let me just do this here quick too, just to demonstrate the stereo effect I have set up on the camera right now. So I'm just leaning over and talking on the left side, and I'm going to pan over to the right side so you can tell exactly what's going on with the mics. And we're going to start off playing kind of a poppy song here called Catch Me If I Fall, but it is a pretty decent quality recording with really good imaging. Like right in the beginning of the song, you can hear a guy going, "Catch me if I fall," and it sounds like this comes from the entire, the sound is surrounding you essentially with just 2 speakers. It doesn't quite reach all the way to the back, but it sounds like it's coming from the side of the room. And yeah, and then there's a bass line that comes in like, 30 seconds in or so. So we'll play the JBLs first, and then I'll turn the volume up 4 decibels and switch to the Klipsch's.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. Damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great. I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall.
All right, now we will switch to the Klipsch. And I'll turn the volume down 4 dB. And
there was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. Damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great. I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date. You're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase. So catch me if I fall.
so I don't really know how well that comes through in the camera, but on my side here, actually physically in the room, the bass is definitely stronger through the JBLs, and that imaging in the beginning when the guy goes, "Catch me if I fall," that sound just wraps around you and almost sounds like surround sound is on. And with the Klipsch's, it basically sounds like there's a wall of sound that takes up the whole front of the room, but I'm not really getting much sound from the side walls. So let's go to the next track. Back to the JBLs. gonna switch to the Klipsch, and I'm not gonna restart the song because it doesn't seem like it's necessary with this one. Back to the JBLs now. Yeah, I don't know how well you guys are hearing that, but the JBLs with this track, it just, the instruments just sound like they have more weight. They sound more realistic. They sound more present in the room. The Klipsch, while it sounds good, it sounds like you're listening to a speaker. Like the JBLs seem like they're just made more for audiophiles. Let's go to the next track. Still gonna be going with the JBLs, and then halfway through we'll switch it back to the Klipsch's. Now I'm going to switch to the Klipsch. Yeah, another one, that bass guitar that they're playing there, that like stand-up bass, it sounds thicker through the JBLs, which is just a funny thing to say, but that's kind of what it sounds like. It sounds more realistic, sounds bassier, it sounds a little bit tighter. You can hear a little bit of the box with the Klipsch, and you don't hear that at all with the JBLs. So I'm going to skip to the next track, and we're going to start off on the Klipsch on the next track and then switch to the JBLs so we can see if you guys can hear what that sounds like. And now the JBLs. That was kind of interesting. I didn't notice that before with the JBLs, that like there's a very faint, like almost ethereal sounding vocalist in the background in this song, and that just kind of like goes whoo, and you could hear her more clearly through the JBLs. I didn't hear that before. I probably didn't listen far enough into this track. But yeah, that was interesting. I did not hear that before. Maybe that's not a vocalist. Maybe it's a synth, but it kind of sounds like a voice. Back to the Klipsch. track that pretty clearly sounds better to me at least on the JBLs. I think we got one more track that I have ready to play here. And also, if you're wondering what the heck are those speakers in the background, watch my previous video. They're interesting, but they're good. Yeah, if you want to know what the heck those 6-foot tall line source speakers are that I have in the background, watch the previous video on my channel. Okay, let's play that from the beginning on the JBLs. Yeah, I think that's enough of that. I mean, to me, it's a pretty clear win for the JBLs again. Like, right away in the beginning of that song, from the first notes, you can hear more of the body of the instrument rather than just the guitar strings. You can hear the resonance inside of the guitar comes through a lot more clearly in the JBLs than it does in the Klipsch's. So yeah, I'm gonna cut the video here and then do a final thoughts quick segment. Jumped over to the other side of the room for the final thoughts portion of the video. So what would I do if I had only the option of the JBL Studio 630s or the Klipsch RP600M Mark IIs? I would choose the JBLs if that wasn't obvious already at this point in the video. I like the fact that their bass goes a little bit deeper and is a little bit punchier than what the Klipsch offers. I like the way that the mid-range seems to have more presence, and so male vocals and instruments seem to have more body and sound less thin like they do through the Klipsch's. And yeah, I like the physical design and cosmetics of the speaker as well. And at full MSRP, $700 for a pair versus $650 for a pair, it's $50. Just get the JBLs. They are the superior speaker. The one monkey wrench that Klipsch threw into this whole situation, though, I don't know if it's still the case by the time I put out this video, but for at least a couple of weeks, the Klipsch's were on sale for only $500 for the pair. And at that point, I don't know, it's a little bit different because now you're talking a $200 difference. I still think personally I would choose the JBLs even with that $200 price point difference. But if you're on an extremely tight budget, $500 is a really good deal for those Klipsch's. So yeah, if that $200 makes a really big difference to you, then go ahead and buy the Klipsch's instead. Either way, they're both really good speakers for, this kind of price category and for their size. Neither one of them is a bad option. I just say I would prefer the JBLs better. And that's it for this big comparison video. I think that the Klipsch's have been dethroned, in my opinion. Unless they stay at that $500 price point, then they continue to be the 6.5-inch horn bookshelf speaker to buy. If you like this video and found it informative at all, and you want to see more stuff like this, then click that subscribe button, share it with anybody that you can think of that's even a little bit into audio, and get me some views and subscribers. If you want to see my next video, which is probably going to be the Martin Logan Motion Foundation B2s, then yeah, get subscribed and click the notification button. And I still haven't heard anything back from ELAC yet, so it looks like I'm probably not going to get my speakers until September. So at that point, my video on those is probably going to get buried behind all the other bigger, you know, more well-known audio YouTube channels out there. But I'm still going to do probably an unboxing and a review video on those. So yeah, get subscribed and hit the like button and hit the notification button. And if anybody has any contacts with any people in this industry, let me know, because especially ELAC, I'm so disappointed that I never heard anything back from ELAC. I really wanted to get those speakers early so that I could put out my video at the same time as the bigger YouTube channels, but that didn't happen. So thanks for watching. Bye. And here's a little game I want to play. Anybody who has watched all the way to the end of this video, just type in the comments the name of those line source speakers. So that's the video that I did before this one.